Good morning, David. How are you?
I'm well, Paul. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you for coming.
Thanks.
Tell me a little bit about your role at Nielsen.
Basically, I run the agency solutions practice globally, which, in a simple way, is bringing the depth and breadth of Nielsen data and solutions to advertising agencies.
Nielsen, this is the same Nielsen that has the little books that used to have those? Are we talking the same Nielsen
It's
here?
the same Nielsen. It is. We've gone digital. We've got a lot of new product solutions that I think are very relevant for agencies, and the big change, I think, in the way that Nielsen's approached agencies is in the spirit of partnership. Rather than saying, here's what we've got, do you want to buy it? It's, we have the same advertiser clients as the agencies. Why don't we work together to bring value to our mutual clients? And I think that's changed the dialogue quite a bit with our agency clients.
A lot of times when you go into agencies, probably one of the most important things you're always talking about is this mantra of reach, resonance, and reaction.
Right.
Share with me the thinking behind those three categories.
So if you're looking at marketing effectiveness, the framework that we've used, reach, resonance, reaction, or the 3 R's, is basically trying to create answers to the basic marketing questions you're asking. Am I reaching my target audience? Am I engaging with the people that I'm interested in engaging with? Resonance, is my message breaking through? Is it changing attitudes and opinions? And finally, reaction, is it driving a desired action, scheduling a test drive, purchasing something online, going into a store, brick and mortar, and pulling it off the shelf.
Do people work with Nielsen in just one of those, or is it all three at once? We've
got clients that are focused in specific areas. Most of what we've sold and provided to agencies in the past has been in the reach space. But as agencies, especially in video and the way that video is moving across platforms, I think the interest is now beyond planning on reach into what we refer to as planning on impact. So getting to the right audience is not enough. And the question that you asked, Jim, I think is relevant. You know, are we training people to skip ads? It doesn't really matter if the people who are not interested skip, as long as the people who are interested engage and then do something further. So it's beyond just getting your message out. It's breaking through with your message and creating some kind of an interest, whether it's brand equity or sales.
Going back one second, you talked about multiple platforms, and in essence, you're talking about measurement across all screens.
Yes.
How do you go about doing that? That seems like a very big challenge.
I think, I mean, there's been lots of talk about the death of television, and I still haven't seen it in 10 years. I'm not sure it's going to happen this year. But I think what people are talking about is taking the amount of money that's spent on television advertising and moving it into digital and mobile. And the only way that you can do that is by creating parity. That's a consistent measurement across platforms. And you need to consider the devices that...
across digital and TV, or across TV, digital altogether?
Altogether.
Right. Okay.
So it's got to be a consistent measure, and you've got to be able to attribute what's being done on programs and on advertisement on the basis of the way consumers are engaging with that content. So, for example, what mobile OCR tries to do is it says, let's start fundamentally with, is it live, or is it being viewed in time shifting? So is it on demand? Is it through a DVR, right? The next thing is, what kind of a device is being used? Is it a TV? Is it a smart TV? Is it a connected device? Is it a tablet? Is it a smartphone? Then you start to look at the way that that information is coming across. Is it text? Is it audio? Is it video? All of those things can move across platforms, right? And then finally, I may be watching it on a TV, but I may actually be online and watching something through Hulu or YouTube, right? I could be on a tablet and viewing something with a browser, or I could be on a smartphone and in an app. And then finally, the ad model. Is it the linear model that you see on TV where you've taken the program and the full commercial load and shown it online? Or is it dynamic insertion, in which case the important part is there's a program that a lot of people are watching, but all of those people may not be seeing the same ad. So I've got to be able to evaluate the program as well as the commercial.
Two more in-depth questions about that process. You talk about live and time-shifted. Would you say almost all digital falls into time-shifted? Except obviously for live streams and that kind of stuff, but is that where digital would then reside, right? So TV...
Actually, it's in both, because what happens, I don't know how many people watched the World Cup, but I was watching a lot of the World Cup on my smartphone, and it was live on ESPN's app, right?
Well, so it was unfortunately shifted by
a bit.
5 seconds, so my Spanish neighbors cheered before me every time.
True. But from the standpoint of, it's not the next day, right?
Right.
So you're kind of watching it in the context. So yes, most of the content that you view online is time shifted, but there are apps and there are capabilities now that are allowing people to watch things more in a live environment.
Got it. One more thing. You talked about being on a tablet and watching it through a browser. What about pulling it up on a tablet and sending it to your TV and watching it then on your TV? How does that get tracked?
The engagement through the tablet is being measured, and the device ID, the ad ID, if you will, is what we're capturing.
Which would be the tablet.
You're right.
Right.
Yeah. The fact that you're pushing it up to a television is we're going in there because of connected devices and the over-the-top kinds of capabilities. It's not quite there yet, but it's in development.
Got it. I know you're a very passionate supporter of digital content, or original digital content, and understanding that I think you've said $45 billion have been spent in developing TV.
Yeah.
What about digital? What needs to happen in digital, because there's not enough advertising inventory, or is understood to be advertising inventory? Right. So what do you see that really needs to happen?
I think there's going to be a couple of things. The conversations that you had where you've got two brands working together to create content, I think that's going to change the playing field a little bit. But I also think that digital is going to have to move away from a 100% ad model. I think that that model by itself is sort of the direct opposite of what they've done on television. Television, you get half of the revenue through advertising, the other half is through distribution. We need to start thinking about where advertising is playing and make sure that it's contextually relevant, and it's also engaging from the standpoint of taking advantage of the platform. So the engagement and interactivity that exists online that doesn't exist on TV, most of the video that you see are cut down TV spots. If a TV production house took a video camera and put it on a print ad, and then ran it on TV, people would think they were crazy and they'd go out of business, right? But that's what we do with TV ads. We take TV ads basically as is, we cut them down to 15 seconds, and we throw them online. Well, that's not taking advantage of the platform. So I don't think that we've completely made the content as relevant and as contextually responsive to the environment that it's playing within.
The idea of there's not enough premium video advertising is really driven by the TV content that's coming over to digital.
Right.
Okay? Because we know that there is a massive ecosystem of high quality premium, and I'm going to define premium as creators who regularly produce content, who regularly and consistently bring in audiences. Taking an Epic Mealtime, for example, massive YouTube presence, and that has now gone to TV on A&E's FYI network. Does that now make them premium, whereas before they were misunderstood?
Part of it is, can you find the content, right? I think there is a lot of content. I think the long tail of the digital ecosystem has created sort of these niche
So
areas.
you would still define, and this is where we conflict. You would still define that show with close to 10 million active users on a regular basis. You'd still define that as long tail.
No, but a lot of the content that exists online is long tail, and it's got very small niche audiences. And when an advertiser is looking to place
how would
their
you define
dollars,
small niche?
thousands.
Thousands, okay. Yeah. So we'll stick to millions and the billions, right? Okay.
So I would say that that's premium content, but then the ad inventory that exists to go along with that content is limited. So
is that because YouTube is restricting it, or?
I think it's a variety of things. I think that the platforms are restricting it, and the platforms make the lion's share of the ad revenue as well, right? So YouTube gets, 70% of the ad revenue. The way that that happens is that the platforms are restricting it, and I think that the content is often being bundled because it's created for television. So it's part of the upfronts and the new fronts, and it's sort of, if you're going to buy ESPN, you're buying it on TV, you're buying it online, you're buying it on mobile devices, and you're getting a package. And part of the reason for that is because the television group has understood that bundled distribution is half their business model, right?
And we know that digital needs to play in the same way TV does, hence the new fronts, and hence somebody like AOL that has sold out the majority of their slate. So we know that model can work if the advertising inventory is perceived as being premium.
Correct.
Right? What do you think needs to happen for more of that inventory to be unlocked and viewed as being premium that's already there? Is it a mindset change amongst the agencies and advertisers that 10 million millennials watching a show makes it a premium piece of content?
I think it's partly that. I think the agencies need to continue to push, and I think agencies have tried to push advertisers there. Advertisers are reluctant to put money anywhere they haven't got any kind of experience or historical performance.
Very true.
Right?
If I don't know it, it's not good.
Right. So that's, again, the reason for the importance of consistent measurement. So if I understand that I can deliver an audience, I think eventually what's going to happen is that agencies are going to start planning on impact. Am I going to drive my client's business? And I'm going to find audiences, not necessarily by day parts and placements on sites. It's going to be, I can deliver you this audience over a variety of devices, and that's the way I'm going to plan it. And the advertiser is going to say, okay, as long as you can prove to me that you've delivered it, we're good. And then it'll be evaluated across the 3 Rs to determine whether or not it's been impactful.
So Dave, will you promise to me that Nielsen will hold the hands of these agencies and walk them into the garden of this premium digital content? Will you guys do that for the agencies?
Absolutely. We'll be prophets in the wilderness. How's that?
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the support.